Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion like Christy is here. Hello, Christy. I hope you had a great weekend. You can join me most weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time when I do my live stream. Or outside of the live stream, you can consider joining the Discord we created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times I get asked what kind of food I'm eating to help me lose weight. And so we created a Pinterest board where we have shared a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Linda saying hello. Hello, Linda. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. It was very nice here. It almost felt like it was the last weekend before we really hit fall. You know, the weather was mostly nice, but I hope everybody had a great weekend. Let's go over here. Our tiny acre hugs, beautiful people, hugs back to you. Let's see. Today is day 693. And I think I'm off on my numbers, but very close to day 693 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based diet to lose over 215 pounds so far. I have just over 13 months left to go to get to my goal weight. I'm looking forward to reaching my goal weight within that time and then maintaining a healthy weight for the rest of my life. Pretty Girl's mom checking in saying, hey, back to you. Let's see. Our Tiny Acre says you went to a birthday party and half people at it ate like you do, so it was easier to behave. Well, that's awesome. I went to a birthday party this weekend and it was easier to behave because we hosted the birthday party. So that made it much easier. But I'm glad that you were able to go to a party and they were eating closer to the way that you eat. Did you have any influence on that group eating that way, or do they have any influence on the way you eat? I'd be curious. Susan checking in saying, hi, everyone. Hi, Susan. Let's see. Went through that. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing about those as well too. If you're struggling to stay on your diet, you know, what's causing you your difficulties, and if you are struggling to get started, what's keeping you from getting started? What are some of the things that you're going to do that are going to make getting on your diet and staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to this here, the big screen. I got my background back. It's back up and running. So I don't feel like I'm in a dull room anymore. I've also connected my internet a little bit better, so I'm hoping that I don't run into any issues with the stream because I actually have my computer plugged directly into the Ethernet versus using a Wi-Fi signal that I had been using here since March. So hopefully that fixes some of those things. I may still have issues when I go and look at the camera roll here, but we'll see how well it works or what I have to do to make things work better. Let's see. You said our Tiny Acre says that they sent a watermelon home with you that tastes like a mix of squash and watermelon. Well, that's quite a mix there. Fortunately, I'm not a big fan of watermelon, and it's one of the foods that I kind of expected to grow more of a taste for. So if you've been following along, I talk about it all the time. But the big foods for me, like cucumber is a food that I'm not a huge fan, or I was not a huge fan of cucumber. Rice, I never ate rice prior to starting this diet. And I'm sure there's some other foods that I've eaten and I've grown to really enjoy them. I was hoping that watermelon would be one of those things because everybody always talks about how great watermelon is, and still not gotten it quite down yet. I mean, I eat it, and I'm trying to get better with it, but it just isn't as wonderful as it seems everybody makes it sound like when they eat it. So, but that's great that they sent a watermelon home with you. Let's see. Oh, and then you say you don't like most cucumbers, but you love lemon cucumbers and dragon egg cucumbers. See, I didn't even know there was different versions of cucumbers. So that's awesome. I'd have to check that out and see if Carrie knows much about the lemon cucumbers or the dragon egg cucumbers. So that's great. So the weekend was good. And yeah, so I was going to go over the food that we had over the weekend. And I have a few photos because, like I said, we had hosted a birthday party. So I'm going to have to try to... Hello, Carrie. I hope everything's going great at home. We were just talking about different types of cucumber. I didn't even know there was different types of cucumber, but it does make sense since there's lots of things I didn't know existed before I started this diet. So we're going to just kind of run through the food. Carrie might be able to help me with the name of the soup that we had on Friday here, but let me pull it up here. It's definitely got lentils in it, carrots, mushrooms, spinach, celery in there, and I can't think of the name of the recipe. We had this same recipe just like a week or two ago, but the carrots were not cooked very well, so they kind of had a crunch to them. This time, Carrie she might have used canned carrots or from frozen carrots for the recipe. But I really like it. I can't think of the name of the recipe. Like I said, we did just have it like a week or so ago. Maybe she'll pop in and say what the name of it. She used frozen carrots with it, with that recipe this past Friday. And so then after Friday, I got to kind of go through because I got some photos here. Saturday, I did not end up taking any photos of the food that I ate in the morning. But I'm pretty sure that I had shredded wheat on Saturday. I don't think we had oatmeal. I think that something came up. We were busy, or I can't remember. But the name of the soup that I showed you guys there a second was called Carrot, Mushroom, and Lentil Soup from the Woman Warrior Cookbook. Yes. The Plant-Based Woman Warrior Cookbook maybe is what it was called. And so then on Saturday evening for dinner, we had another one of the meals that's become a more regular part of our diet, which is the polenta with the white beans and mushrooms. I really enjoy this meal, and it's been a great addition to what we've been eating. Then on Sunday, I think it must have been. Yeah, so Sunday, I was home earlier in the day, and I just took a bunch of vegetables and threw them in the Instapot. So this was just some, I had thrown maybe half dozen potatoes, 3 carrots, and a couple sweet potatoes in the Instapot, just cooked them for 22 minutes. And I just kind of ate those on their own as a snack. I guess a snack. I mean, it was kind of like dinner. It was around 5 p.m. And just ate them plain. It looks dull, but that sweet potato was really good, and it had some very strong like reminded me of pumpkin pie. The texture of a sweet potato like that, and the coloring, and just the flavor and the season. I didn't have any cinnamon or any pumpkin pie spice on it, but just the sweet potato in itself was reminding me of pumpkin pie. And when you eat a diet that you don't add salt, oil, and sugar to these foods, you really taste the flavors in them. And I really I like doing that. It's a couple weekends in a row now that I've just taken the Instapot and threw some carrots and potatoes in it and just had them cooked, and then we can do other stuff with them. I do like mixing them with grilled vegetables like onions and zucchini and red peppers, but I didn't take the time to mess with that this weekend. I just threw the vegetables in the Instapot just to cook them. And then for dinner yesterday, and I have a bunch of photos here of it, but we had our Spanish rice. Usually we have Spanish rice and beans, but there's no beans in our Spanish rice here. We didn't actually even notice, or Carrie didn't notice till today, that she forgot to put beans in there. Very good. She accidentally put too much of the seasoning in it as well. So it was very spicy, but I really enjoyed it. And that's going to be most of my photos here. A little bit of that smell-o-vision here, real up close. You can see all of the grains of rice and the tomatoes, and it's just so delicious and really good. And then this was leftover from that soup that I had yesterday after dinner. I was just looking for a snack, so I ate the rest of that soup that we had left over. The picture's not very pretty because it was in a Tupperware container and I just microwaved it to heat it up. And then today, I didn't take a picture of my oatmeal for some reason. I usually take a picture of the oatmeal, but we had our regular oatmeal this morning with the spinach and mushrooms and onions, and it seemed extra creamy today. It was delicious. And then for lunch, we had leftover Spanish rice and beans, and it's not Spanish rice, no beans. Had leftover Spanish rice, no beans. For lunch today, and actually I didn't take a photo of it. I feel like I've already eaten 3 meals today. I ended up coming into work and I hadn't eaten breakfast yet when I came in, and we had some potatoes left in the fridge that we had cooked last week, and I wanted to get them cooked or get them eaten or get rid of them. So I ended up, when I first got to work today, because I left home early before we had oatmeal ready, I ate like 3 or 4 potatoes, just heated them up in the microwave and sat down and ate like 3 or 4 potatoes like apples. And then an hour later, Carrie came in and had the oatmeal, and I had that for breakfast. And then at like 2:40, I ate kind of late. Yeah, 2 o'clock. I ended up eating the Spanish rice for lunch. So I really feel like I've had a lot of food today. And it's not even dinner time yet. So, and it's something that I wanted to talk about because I was thinking about it on my way home the other day. And with this diet, I am constantly kind of pushing myself to eat or to remember to eat. And it got me thinking about like old diets and just the difference between this diet and how I used to diet. And something that I feel is important with this diet is to make sure that you're eating a good volume of food and that you are, that you're not starving yourself of calories, because it's easy to cut the volume of food down that you normally eat, because that's how all diets are supposed to be. That's how every other diet that I've ever been a part of has been. That's one of the aspects of the diet, is to eat less, to eat in moderation. And so with this diet, it's very easy to try to put that in place, because it's how every other diet is. But it's important to make sure that you eat a volume of food with this diet. And it's important for a number of reasons. But what I was thinking about with it was how I think it's important to make sure that you're eating a lot of food and that you're getting the calories in, because it's harder to play catch up if you get behind. And what I kind of mean by that is that the foods, when I do eat, the meals tend to be very low calorie dense, high nutrient dense foods. And so when I sit down and I eat a dinner of, let's say, like I had the other day with the potatoes, the carrots, and the sweet potato, just a dinner of starches, that there's only so much of that food that I can put into my body, and that food is very low calorie. And so I may eat 2 pounds of food, but then that ends up only being 1,000 calories. And if you keep putting yourself in a position where you're not eating enough food and you're not getting enough calories, eventually that's where you start to have your body it catches up over time. And eventually your body is going to start craving some things and start pushing you to do things that are outside of what you're comfortable with your diet. And it's your body, you're not noticing it because you're still eating food and you're still eating a good volume of food. But even with eating that good volume of food, if you're not getting enough calories, then your body is going to start trying to find ways to get you to bring in more calories. It's going to find ways to convince you to eat something that's got a higher calorie density, or to change, your diet in some way, because it's going to want those calories. And with other diets that I've done in the past, I feel like I've been able to go those periods of time without eating, because when I was eating on either end of those fasts, I guess, and they're not, maybe they're unintentional fasts, but the eating on either side of that period where I didn't eat, the calorie density is so high that it makes up for the period of time where you weren't eating very quickly. Because if you're eating foods that have twice the calorie density as the example I said before, and you eat 2 pounds and you have 2,000 calories, and that's much closer to the number of calories your body needs in a day, but it also puts you at more of a surplus if you do hit the surplus, by eating that higher calorie dense foods. So with this diet, we're eating low calorie dense foods. We got to make sure that we're getting the volume in, because it will catch up over time, and you will have difficulty sticking to the diet. Where other diets, you can last on them longer with eating less food, because when you do eat, it's so high in calories that it makes up for the times when you're not eating, and you uh, and it's easier to eat those calories to catch up too. So if I go for 12 hours without eating, then I have a lot of space in my stomach. And let's say I can put 2 to 3 pounds of food in my stomach. If I'm only eating at 500 calories a pound, then I can only put 1,000 to 1,500 calories in my stomach. If I'm eating twice that in calorie density after that 12-hour period when I'm ravenous and I have to eat and I start shoving the food in my mouth, I'm able to put, with the same volume, twice as many calories in. Then your body is going to it's going to process it different, or it's going to be easier to stay on that diet that's higher calorie dense, but it's going to be tougher to lose weight because you're still eating you're still eating in a calorie surplus, or it's easier to eat in a calorie surplus when you're eating foods that are more calorie dense. But anyways, that's just all to kind of say that I've really been trying to push myself to eat, even if I think that it's not, I'm not super hungry or it's not dire, but I want to make sure that I'm not in a position where I do end up, if something happens where I have to miss a meal or go a period of time without eating, that I haven't had enough calories to take care of it. Sorry, let me just check. That must have been a misdial. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense, but I just feel like I was trying to think about just in comparison to other diets and how easy it was on other diets to skip a meal or to have something, cause a delay or cause an issue. And I think part of it was, it's harder to play catch up on this diet with the calories if you fall behind, because no matter how hard you try, the foods are only going to be so rich in calories. And so you got to work hard not to fall behind. You want to be behind slightly, but you don't want to be eating 1,000 calories a day. It works for some time and it's great, when you're starting, but if you want to have sustained weight loss and maintain that weight loss, eating 800 to 1,200 calorie diets is not going to be the answer. And my goal at the end of this too is that I don't want to be dieting the rest of my life. And I see some of these people who use these super calorie restrictive diets to get down to their goal weight. And then if they're able to maintain that goal weight, it really feels like they're constantly fighting themselves, where they're having to switch back and forth between that super restrictive diet and eating the way they want to eat, and having to find some sort of rhythm between that. Just seems like a lot of work. Anthony's asking, can you recommend a meat substitute? You think you tried tofu years ago, you're not sure. So I would suggest looking into maybe recipes that use textured vegetable protein, TVP, because like a chili, if you want to make a chili that uses textured vegetable protein, that will mimic that ground beef texture quite a bit. That would be as far as our diet, that would be the thing I think that we have that's kind of closest to meat, is if we ever use textured veg TVP in anything. I'm sure that there's other people that would have, maybe other recommendations. I Also, something that for me is that I'm not trying to, most of the time with our food, mimic or substitute out what we used to eat for new things. Uh, and so for us, like for me, what ends up being a meat substitute is like Carrie will put cut up portobello mushroom in our salads, and that chunkiness of that mushroom gives me that meat kind of sensation. But I'm not trying to, we don't try to mimic the flavor of meat or the texture of meat with it. I'm trying to think of any other things that we've done that are, Carrie says the TVP that we use for the tacos for the kids, and they really like it. And it's way cheaper than meat, Carrie says, to use that. If you're trying to patty kind of things like a bean patty, I liked that plant-based Gabriel's 3-2-1 burger, but again, I would never say that mimics burger in any capacity other than the shape of it, and in the usage of it in a sandwich. Any other meat substitutes? It's tofu is good too. It's and there's probably better options maybe than what you tried years ago. I don't know. And then there's the actual meat substitute brands, the Impossible and the Beyond. Those are pretty good at mimicking the flavors for that. Sometimes we use, I feel like the bulgur wheat kind of gives that same texture as TVP. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Like I said, most of our dishes aren't something where we're trying to mimic or substitute a meat thing. Like that's something that we've had to take on with this, is that we had to relearn how to cook a lot of things and change the basis for our ingredients in a lot of things. Carrie's saying that we may be having those plant-based Gabriel's 3-2-1 burgers for dinner tonight, which is great. I like them. And they're good. But like I said, they're not meat. And Carrie says lentils give a little bit of a meaty ground beef feel. I was going to say that with that soup that we had that I showed there earlier on the stream, that kind of the texture, flavor, everything of that, kind of has a little bit of a meat feel to it. The carrot, mushroom, and lentil soup that we had over the weekend. So yeah, I hope that gives you some kind of help. Like I said, I would try like a chili with the TVP if I were going to try to make something that I would say, to try to trick somebody into thinking that they were eating a meat product and not. I think you might be able to do it with that. With as far as hamburgers, steaks, stuff like that, you'd have to get into that kind of processed stuff. Ron says that they use either lentils or crumbled tempeh, and then spiced. And I am not a fan of tempeh. I've had tempeh once or twice where I've been like, okay, that's good, but most of the time I don't know what I'm not a huge fan of tempeh, but it's probably in the preparation and less in the actual, because I'm trying to think. One time I had it was like in some real cheap meal or something. I can't remember now. And Carrie says we need to figure out a salt, oil, sugar-free something to put on our burgers if anyone has a suggestion. I know I really liked that teriyaki stuff that we had gotten from the California balsamic company. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for a good SOS free sauce to put on the plant-based Gabriel's 321 burgers, Carrie is taking suggestions. And I honestly, I don't mind eating them without anything, but it does help to have some sort of flavor on them, or like a sauce on them. And so, yeah, I just was just because I really feel like I've been eating so much in the past few weeks, and I've been intentionally eating more. I got rid of some of those things that I was leaning on in the previous 11 months, or the first 11 months, like the Ezekiel bread with the peanut butter. That is something that I was kind of telling Carrie yesterday. I was like, it'd be kind of nice to have some Ezekiel bread with peanut butter, but I haven't had any. I'm staying away from it for now. I have had peanut butter, but I haven't had the Ezekiel bread. And then that's the big thing, I guess, that one of the big things I've done differently here. Pretty Girl's mom says that they like the Date Lady barbecue sauce made with dates, and it is low sodium. Ron's asking if we've tried the roasted bell peppers from the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook. Basically roasted bell peppers with balsamic and herbs. I have not. That is one of the books that I've been putting on the list that I want to kind of check out, is the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. But we have not. I don't know that we've checked that out. As far as Our Tiny Acre says, you really don't miss the meat, but before you quit eating it, you were vomiting. That's gross. You were throwing up. Ice cream, though, you were missing a lot. Your friend made some with her Ninja Creamy, made with sweet potatoes, garbanzo beans, and some veggies. Carrie says that she does think she's made that barbecue sauce, the Date Lady barbecue sauce, in the past. She's going to check and see if it's on the Pinterest. Our Tiny Acres, with the missing the meat, I don't miss the meat at all. The dairy was the one that I would say was the tougher of the two. The way I did it was different too, though, because I water fasted. So my intention going into water fasting was never that I was going to stop eating meat or animal products. So that wasn't at the front of my mind when I started water fasting. That water fasting was just going to be the period between the times that I had dairy. And so it wasn't until after I fasted and I started eating again that I was even confronted with any type of temptations to eat foods that I had been not eating. And just with the things that I had learned, meat never really had another attraction to me, both on the health aspect and also on the animal agriculture and the vegan aspect of it. But with I feel like one of the things that helped me to stay away from meat too was that I didn't just stop eating, start eating a vegan diet or eating a plant-based diet, but I also eliminated salt, oil, and sugar. And when I got rid of the salt, and like, if I think about the idea of eating meat, and then I think about the idea of eating meat without salt, or without salt being part of the process of making that meat, it really doesn't appeal to me at all. Because when I think of meats, I think of like the hams and the steaks and stuff, but it's all salted. Everything's got salt on it. It was cured in salt. It was cooked, with salt. It was seasoned with salt. And I am, I'm a big fan of getting rid of salt. Like I can't put maybe an exact, like, this is why you need to get rid of salt. But I think a big reason why people need to get rid of salt is because everybody's unwilling to get rid of it. And there's still this camp out there that's saying, you have to have salt to live. Without salt, you'll die. Right. But they're equating salt with table salt. They're saying without table salt, you're going to die. Without adding salt from a shaker, you're going to die. And they're not accounting for the sodium that you can get from your food. And I feel like there's so many other things where people with my diet have said, oh, you need that. And then it's like, well, no, you don't. Like people say you need this animal product and they're holding on to that. And then people are proving that you don't need it. But for whatever reason, people are cool with giving up sugar and they're cool with giving up oil, but they don't understand giving up salt. And I don't know, it's just weird. Like, I feel like there's, maybe still some, of that brainwashing they've been doing to us for years, like this, the people that say you need salt, you have to have salt, I feel like to me aren't a whole lot different than the people that say that you have to have animal products to live. Like those people that say you have to have animal products to live are so adamant about it. But there's so much evidence against it now, with so many people succeeding without it. And I feel like salt is kind of the same way. There's so many people that still advocate for the necessity of it. And there may be in some respects, but not in the abundance that we have access to it now. Let's see here. Our Tiny Acres, you said you're allergic to dairy, but you still had issues leaving alone the vegan ice creams that were sugary and fatty. Those vegan ice creams are crazy. You mentioned the ice cream that your friend made in the what was it, a Ninja or whatever, the Ninja Creamy. And it got me thinking, so I haven't had dairy ice cream for a couple years, so I can't say for certain, but I have had some of the vegan ice creams, like the Ben & Jerry's dairy-free ice creams. I think that the coconut milk or the almond milk ice creams are better tasting than the old ice creams. The ice creams that we've bought while we've been doing this thing, I almost think are more enjoyable than the ice cream I used to eat. I would absolutely, I feel like it's so hard to gauge though, because I haven't had any dairy ice cream for years, or I guess almost 2 years now, but I was surprised at how good non-dairy ice cream tastes. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the sugar they have to put into it too. And they're not healthy by any means. I do not suggest eating them, but, if you were going to choose between the two, I would suggest eating the non-dairy because I think it tastes better. And then you said, you've had low sodium your whole life, no matter what you eat, probably because you don't like the things that are tasty, that taste salty. And then Pretty Girl's mom says that you're beginning to think that the creamy would be a great addition to help you stay on track. Carrie said, don't eat them, but they are very tasty. Yes. Don't eat them. The Ben & Jerry's ice creams. But if you are forced to eat them, then you'll enjoy it for sure. So giving up the meat, honestly, I think was easier than the dairy. And the dairy, really, overall, the whole way I did it, it went it's gone pretty smooth. And, I'm happy with it. So the other thing I was going to talk about today, because if the last time I was on here was Thursday, and I was going on and on Thursday about how good I felt. I was doing a lot of work in the building here, running wires, moving things around. I was on the ground and I was up in the air on lifts, and I was crawling under tables and running wires and doing all kinds of stuff. And I was like, man, I feel really good today. I was on the ground, and I almost felt like athletic again, like when I was in high school, like some of the getting off the ground, it was like doing wrestling moves, or kind of that same, I was able to have kind of, like I said, I felt athletic. I felt good. I felt like things were going well, and they are, and that but, I got up Friday morning, and right away, as I went to get out of bed, I was like, oh man, my ankles are really screaming today. And it wasn't near as bad as it used to be back when I was 500 pounds. But on Friday, I definitely kind of had to take it a little bit easier. I still had stuff to do, and it didn't slow me down really, but I could feel that I had used some muscles and moved my ankles in some ways that it had not been moved in some time. So I was starting to recover from that. And then we ended up having a birthday party this weekend for we have twin daughters, and we went to a roller skating rink, and I rented roller skates and was trying to roller skate around. And so my ankles are a little sore again today. If you want to know how uncoordinated you are, go strap some roller skates on after years of not wearing them. I mean, I've worn them a little bit with our kids' school does, like once or twice a year, they do a thing at the skate rink. So I've been there a couple times in the past few years, but, just trying to get around and keep your balance, and, it's tough. So I was feeling great Thursday. Friday had a little bit of a wake up call. And then yesterday I didn't do myself any favors roller skating around. But I did manage to, I never fell backwards. I did fall forward one time, roller skating, but for the most part, I was on my feet the whole time, and I was able to keep my balance. Wearing rental, skates and having, wide feet, it was a little uncomfortable, but, it was fun with the kids, and it was actually a lot of fun seeing them on the roller skates. There were some kids that didn't have any experience on roller skates, and so those are always the best to watch, see how they handle it. And my kids did great. Gene says, hi, your Thursday show was great. Thank you. The skinny you is showing itself. It takes a while to get back into great shape though. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate it. I felt bad I wasn't able to go live on Friday. But I just been doing so much stuff with work, and I don't even know if I had internet at the time when I was trying to go live, or when I would have gone live Friday. Anyways, I appreciate it. The weekend, I'm trying to think if there's anything else big this weekend. I felt really busy because we had a lot going on with that party. Dealing with yard work is it's gonna consistently be a non-scale victory for me, doing yard work, like being able to get off the tractor and move stuff around and deal with things, and just overall the just how tough things were at 520 pounds dealing with my yard work. It's amazing how much easier. And Carrie says that at our kid's birthday party, everybody had vegan cupcakes and nobody complained. I don't know that anybody even would have known the difference. I'm sure we ended up having to spend a bunch of extra money to have them not use butter in the ingredients, but no, it was good. The cupcakes were pretty. I can show a photo of the cupcakes here maybe real quick. We got them for the girls. Oh, it's not a very great photo, but I can share it with you guys anyways. There we go. So the girls had these cupcakes. Maybe Carrie took better photos of them. I just took a photo of them in my truck before after I picked them up. But they were like a pink and a purple, and then the cake itself was like red and white, like a vanilla. So those were the cupcakes that our kids have. I resisted all temptations between the cupcakes. We ended up getting Papa Murphy's pizza that we take and baked to the roller skating rink for our family. And then we ended up getting pizza for everybody else. Not my favorite choice, but it was the easiest thing, and it got them fed and made them happy. So, but yeah, these cupcakes were a big hit. Everybody enjoyed them a lot. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says, yes, I agree. The skinny you is peeking out more and more. I hope the skinny me shows up. I want to see a skinny me. That's going to be it. That's going to be the day. I some days I feel like I'm already there though. I feel like I'm already done everything that I've put everything in place, and I'm just going to stick to the program, and I'm going to get there. I just wish it was faster. Vegan frosting. Yes. Vegan frosting. Is that mind blown? Yes, there's such thing as vegan frosting. I don't know what the lady did to make it. Maybe like Carrie thought maybe she used like a Crisco or something, but I don't know. Yeah, there's lots of different things that you'd think were not vegan, but they end up being vegan, or you can find a way to make them vegan. Just like ice cream. And like I said, if you haven't had non-dairy ice cream and you're grabbing some, I'd give it a shot, because at the very least, one of the things that me and Carrie had said after, we never felt like bloated or like awful after having a non-dairy ice cream like we used to when we had dairy ice cream. And we used to eat a lot more dairy ice cream too, I suppose. But yeah, it was a good weekend. Kids had fun. And this upcoming week here, I'm looking forward to weighing in on Wednesday. Hopefully the weight's going in the right direction. It seems to be going in the right direction. I did feel like I ate a lot today, but I don't generally worry about it because it wasn't very high calorie. I mean, that Spanish rice was, whatever calories rice has, and then Rotel tomatoes. So I could eat a volume of that and not feel guilty by any means. So the rest of the week I'll be live, I think, every day this week. I'm looking forward to weigh in Wednesday. I do have crazy, like a bunch of stuff at work is busy. I don't think it'll affect my stream times, but it may. Pretty Girl's mom says that you can make a vegan cream cheese frosting. You use 8 ounces of the Kite Hill cream cheese and half a cup of date paste and blend it together. And you have a vegan cream cheese frosting. You tried B&J's ice cream gastric the non-dairy, Anthony, or the regular? I'm not sure what you're talking about, because that's and then Pretty Girl's mom said that they had found that recipe for the vegan cream cheese when they were trying to look for a healthy carrot cake recipe. So yeah, that seems like might not be bad to try out if you're trying to make your own vegan cream cheese frosting. All right, I am gonna pop off here though. I was Ben and Jerry's, I imagine, is what that was, Carrie. Yeah, I'm not sure if she was talking about the regular ice cream or non-dairy or what. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I appreciate everybody checking out my broadcast and my videos and all of the support. Make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button down below. I've gotten a few new subscribers this past month, and it's great to see the numbers go up with that. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live and post new videos. And hit the thumbs up button if I didn't say that already. And everybody have a great evening. I will be on tomorrow unless something comes up. I don't plan on anything coming up. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. Nobody gets to their goal, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have started sooner. So get started today. Make right now the moment you change. You guys all have a great evening.